Hey guys, MeLikeBigBoom here, and today we have another Unturned 4.0 devlog. This is number 3 out of all the devlogs we've gotten. If you have missed the first 2, I would highly recommend checking them out. It will be in the top right corner of your screen. But in regards to today's devlog, Unturned is just getting more exciting by the minute. We have 3 new videos to take a look at and a new screenshot that we got earlier this week. But before we get into that, Nelson would like to point out again that all of these assets are placeholder and or work in progress, and nothing is off the table for improvement. Keeping that in mind, please do share your suggestions and feedback in the comment section down below. Now, in regards to today's post, Nelson says that unlike the previous post's concentration on gun mechanics, his attention has been all over the place between Unturned 3.0 updates, NPC controllers, gamepad support, art style experimentation, and more, though there are still a few miscellaneous neat little things to show off today, and that's what we can take a look at. The first video he shows is our first glimpse at some audio improvements in Unturned 4.0, this time in regards to footsteps and moving through foliage. You will now have to be more cautious when moving through grass and bushes, as they can draw a fair bit of attention. Audio is an area that has been needing major improvement in Unturned 3.0, and I think it's great to see some steps taken in that direction. Also in this video, I can't help but notice how great everything looks. I mean, not just with visual, but I'm also talking the animations on the character, movement between strafing back and forth and jumping and moving and jumping. All these are super fluid animations. It's super cool to see that in motion. Now, in another video, we also get to find out that Unturned 4.0 will have controller support, and as of now, the basics are working quite nicely. The addition of controller support will not only mean that you can play with a keyboard, but also you'll be able to play couch split-screen co-op with your friends at home. Now in this video, Nelson was obviously using a controller, and some of the immediate changes that you can notice is that in order to pick up items, you have to hold X, and you can navigate through your inventory system and press Y on items and navigate through the menu that way. Overall, Unturned will properly support controllers, and that's going to be nice to have. Now, some other miscellaneous things that you can see in this video is that the tactical laser actually points in the direction that the gun is actually facing. I don't know if you guys have noticed this in Unturned 3.0, but when you have a laser sight on your gun, when you start sprinting, your gun gets moved to the side, right? But the laser is still pointing forward. It was just a weird little thing that's always been with Unturned 3.0, and once again, a side effect of how the view model is set up. And in Unturned 4.0, it's now working properly. The laser will always be pointing at where the gun is pointing. So you'll notice that when he sprints or equips the weapon, the laser is actually pointing where it should be. I also hope this means that you can accidentally shoot while you're sprinting or something and have the bullet go to the side, or you can shoot before your gun is actually fully facing forward to kind of spray sideways accidentally. That would be pretty cool as well. Now, also slowing down the footage when he reloads, you'll notice that he is actively taking a magazine out of the gun, and you can see this all happening in putting in the new one. You can see everything that is going on. There's no trickery or anything like that. In Unturned 3.0, the magazine will just poof disappear, and then a new one magically appears, and then your arm kind of blocks what's really going on. Unturned 4.0, it's been set up properly not only for reloading, but also for attachments. So when you are attaching attachments to your gun, you will actually be able to see your character take the attachment off or put a new attachment on or something, or twist on a suppressor or something like that, and that's going to be really cool. Now Nelson would also like to point out that there is a very slight aim assist for controllers, but anyone with a mouse and keyboard will still have the advantage. And this is kind of the case with any sort of FPS. It's generally agreed upon that mouse movement always has the advantage over controller movement, so there's no need to worry about that. Now the last video that we get to take a look at is part of the new weather system that Unturned 4.0 will have. Now in Unturned 3.0 there are storms that create rain, but in regards to snow, we just have snow maps or snowy sections of map. There is no snowing in the same way that it rains when a storm comes. In Unturned 4.0 this will be completely overhauled. Nelson says that as part of the deeper survival elements in 4.0, he'd like to have gameplay vary with the seasons, with different degrees of weather in each season rather than some maps being snowy and some not in 3.0. Now keeping this in mind, he's planning for the dynamic weather from the get-go so we can have effects like snow buildup and water dripping down surfaces, and he has a video to show that off. Also, he'd like to point out that he does intend to have more texture detail for natural objects in 4.0, though he will probably not go as far as you see on these rocks. These rocks are a little more detailed than they will be in the full release. Super cool looking. I do think the rain does look a little silly without actual rain falling, but I'm sure it will look a lot more natural when you can actually see rain droplets falling from the sky in thick, heavy fog and droplets splashing on the ground. The effects that these rocks have will add on to that and it'll be pretty sweet. Also, snow is just looking perfect. I mean, you can imagine that there is a difference between full snow on the ground and the rocks are covered in snow, and there's also transition phases. You can have a little bit of snow slowly appearing on these rocks as the snow builds up. Just lots of little detailed things that are always nice to have. Now, another thing I'd like to cover is a screenshot that Nelson posted 5 days ago of some more attachments that can be done on weapons in Unturned 4.0. This is the screenshot that he posted showing an eagle fire with a red dot sight and iron sights and canted iron sights on the same weapon. Now he does think that he's going to limit guns to only one upper rail sight and one canted rail sight, meaning that you can choose to have an iron sight or a red dot sight, and you can add on top of that a canted iron sight, which is what you're seeing to the side, but you will not be able to combine a red dot sight and an iron sight in the full version. But regardless, I do think it's super cool to think about all the new attachment options that will be possible in Unturned 4.0. We will have tons more options than just a tactical slot, a grip slot, a barrel slot, and a sight slot. Personally, I think an incredible way of handling the attachment system in Unturned 4.0 would be to have it where when you hold T, you'll be able to see the rails on that weapon. Let's say it has a top rail, 2 side rails, and a bottom rail. Then you'll be able to drag attachments from your attachments inventory, and it will snap to a rail on the weapon. So perhaps you can snap a holographic sight on the top rail, and then you can choose to put your laser sight maybe on the left rail instead of the right rail. Then with a laser sight on the left rail, you can snap a flashlight on the right rail. Or maybe there are ACOG sights that have rails on top of them so that you can put a red dot on top of an ACOG and swap between them. And then you can also position where each of these attachments are along the rails, so you can put your holographic towards the front or towards the back, whatever you think looks best. There are tons of options out there, and the idea of having more attachments than what we have in Unturned 3.0 is really exciting. But overall, that's basically everything that was in Unturned Devlog number 3. Some minor things that I missed: Nelson is heading back to Calgary for the holidays, so any update posts seem unlikely. And there's also a small video that I missed that may be of interest to map makers and modders out there. Nelson says that he's unified the spawn tools from 3.0 so that they're much more user-friendly, and he has a 40-second video showing what that looks like. If you are one of those, I will put the full devlog in the description down below for you to read through, but as of now, that was basically everything in Unturned 4.0 devlog number 3. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to rate, comment, subscribe, and do all that gibberish, because MeLikeBigBoom is out.